Hey guys, it's John, host of Where Do We Grow Now. I'm here with Bradley Mansilla, the VP of Partnerships of ShipIntel. Did I get that right?
Yes, sir. VP of Partnerships at ShipIntel. That's right.
Awesome. Brad, give us a little bit of a 10,000 foot view on what ShipIntel is and what your day to day looks like.
Yeah, so I won't get into the minutia too much, but high level, we are a aggregator that helps direct-to-consumer brands and fulfillment companies get their product to their consumers in a timely manner, as well as cost efficient. So we pick up at our customers' facilities. We do the sorting and processing throughout the United States. And then we drop into local USPS facilities who make the final mile delivery. Since they are the only carrier growing to about 230 million residences on a daily basis, that makes them a perfect carrier for us to make the final mile delivery. Plus, the name is a bit more well known than ShipIntel. Everybody knows the United States Postal Service.
Right, of course. So, uh, you guys typically are exclusive to DTC, or are there any other categories that you'll support with regards to shipping that type of volume that I'm sure you guys expect?
Yeah, so direct to consumer is really our focus. All of our customers are in the range of 300 to about 15,000 pieces per day. Anything below 300 doesn't work great for our model. The scale just isn't there for the sorting and routing that we require, and that does take scale. So about 300 is the minimum. And then once you get up to about 15,000 pieces per day, companies typically start to employ some really neat logistic tricks of their own, and they become too large for us. But all of our customers are direct consumer brands, with the exception of those fulfillment companies that are fulfilling orders for direct consumer brands as well.
Right. Got it. And I mean, you guys have been in the space a long time. I mean, what was the genesis of launching Ship and Tell for those who are listening?
Yeah, goes back quite a ways to the 1970s, actually. So founder of ShipIntel is Pompey Mansilla, happens to be my father. He was in LTL in the 1970s, and they handled what we call zone skipping today between Miami, Houston, and LA, and then LA, New York City, and then that corridor from New York City to Miami, that's extremely popular as well. And instead of having customers ship a couple of pallets, they would consolidate everything into a truckload, send it from Miami to LA, and then everybody on that truckload could experience a lower rate because of the volume, which is why we have those minimums in place I kind of alluded to earlier.
Mhm.
So over time, that model has transitioned over into a parcel environment, and we're doing the exact same thing that Pompeii did 50 years ago, but with parcels today,
And a lot more technology, I'm sure.
and a lot more technology and analytics. Yeah.
It's crazy. So, like for us, obviously, those who are listening know we handle the performance marketing. So we're the driver that helps brands ship more products and meet those minimums that you guys are looking for to do the cost savings and the analytical insights that you provide. I think I don't know if you see the same thing, but most brands struggle, and I posted this on LinkedIn the other day, with a lot of them don't have their finances and like OpEx in check when it comes to understanding like, hey, what's our path to scale? And it's not just marketing. Marketing obviously being one of the biggest proponents of being able to scale and grow, but facets of like what are you paying to ship products, and how long is it taking, and are you retaining more customers because you can ship products fast because you have the competition like with Amazon and some of these, like Walmart's getting heavy into it. So do you guys also have a piece where you start to educate the consumers on what they're missing or how to be more efficient, and obviously when the right time is to take advantage of the rate savings and the efficiencies that you guys can provide? Do you try to help, or do you see the same thing with brands struggling to understand what all that is holistically?
Yeah, we do see the same thing. Analyzing shipping, especially when you get into hundreds of orders per day, which is when it becomes extremely important on the P&L, is a daunting task. There's a lot that goes into it. It is not as simple as looking at a 1 pound zone one rate with one carrier and comparing it to the next. I mean, the fuel surcharge alone is calculated by weight with some carriers. With other carriers, it's based off the cost of the shipment. Surcharges are accounting for something like 30 plus or minus percent of an invoice. So on top of the base charge, shippers are paying an additional 30% in shipping charges. So we help customers, for sure, to answer your question in short and a little bit of a more lengthy response. We're big on analytics. That Intel part of ShipIntel is we stay true to our nature when it comes to the way that the company was named, because we'll go through a 90-day shipping history report that we ask for from all of our direct-to-consumer brands. That 90-day shipping history report is going to have all of the 500 shipments per day for the 20 business days per month, right? And we'll analyze each and every one of those shipments through our software. And then we'll come back and we'll say, customer XYZ, look, in Zone 8 as an East Coast shipper, just for an example, since we both sit on the East Coast, you guys are really getting hammered by your current carrier. And this is what the savings opportunity is. It's the largest savings opportunity within your shipping portfolio right now. And that's where we suggest making immediate alterations to your operation. And then we'll show them what they're doing in zones 1 through 7 as well, right? So maybe the savings decline from zone 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and then to more locally 2 and 1, and they're greatest in zone 8. But we really pride ourselves on giving customers the knowledge that's needed in a numerical format that's easy to digest so that they can make strong, educated decisions. So what we try to do when it comes to that helping and consultancy phase is just lay out the numbers so that we can help our customers or future customers, in this case, make good, educated, strong decisions.
Got it. That's super helpful. I think for most brands that might be listening to this probably might be a little bit too small or premature to work with you guys to take advantage of all that. But it's important to start getting a handle of it now while you can, right? Because it's like you said, it's even the bigger brands that you're probably working with are struggling too to have internal resources, like, as far as operational resources are concerned, to understand it, make heads and tails of it, and then make decisions based on that too. And I bet you that, even for me, I didn't know there was 8 zones. I'm sure most don't too. And then if you're crawling past $1 million in revenue and you're going to 5, you're going to 10, and you're thinking about, hey, maybe we're probably inefficient, when your accountant or your CPA or whoever it is, your CFO, going through your numbers, and they're like, look, how do we become more efficient? That's it's a big thing. I think this, understanding your taxes and understanding your contribution margin for the marketing, are probably the 3 biggest foundational tools that I see most brands not really clearly understand. So it's really important to have a resource like you guys. Now, is there like more of an incubator that you've tried to work on to help brands prepare early, and then almost like, hey, in 18 months to 2 years, based on your trajectory, that's when you're ready to work with us, or that's when you're ready to take advantage of these things? Is that something you guys work on or talk about?
Yeah, it is. Some of the customers who are not ready to become customers have been some of our best long-standing customers today. So we definitely have a forward-looking approach to our relationships and partnerships with clients who are growing. Let's just say a company has 150 orders per day. We'll have customers say, I know that we're not at that 300 or 500 minimum that you guys have in place for our area of the United States, because we are nationwide. However, could you just run this through your software to see where we're at? And we can take those savings if we're doing 150 and kind of double them to know what the savings potential would be like at 300. So we'll take that 150 orders per day. We'll run it through our software. We'll show them exactly what the savings opportunity is below a pound if they're using first class mail, and above a pound if they're using priority mail or any other carrier for that matter, so that they have not just a pipe dream to get to numbers that they're not quite at, but additional incentives for hitting those numbers, right? If marketing spend needs to be kind of increased and budgets need to be tightened to get to an area where they can save $150,000 or $200,000 in shipping, a lot of times customers will take an approach where they'll be a little bit more aggressive so that they can get into a program where 20% savings can be had on their direct-to-consumer shipping. And it allows them to get there quicker and more profitably in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, that's the caveat to it, because if they're able to do that type of exercise and understand what that looks like, one of two things can be true. They'll have more money at the bottom line, or they'll have more surplus to allocate to marketing for more customer acquisition. And this obviously this compounding effect. So that's super. That's just really cool what you guys are doing. Now, what you brought up something about first class versus priority. Do you find that the platform serves brands best that are more like widget style apparel, things that are a little bit lighter in to be able to do first class versus priority, or is it just more just still on the volumetric, threshold?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So there's kind of a two-prong approach to shipping, I guess you can say. You've got the orders that people pay for extra for shipping. Let's say it's an additional $15, but they're going to use FedEx 2 day, right? So all of those orders will always go or should always go through an express carrier like FedEx or UPS.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got the orders where you've selected standard free shipping. And that's kind of the realm that we sit within more often. And a lot of times those products are more along the product lines that you just mentioned, like widgets. Apparel companies are huge for us. Cosmetics is probably one of our top three largest sectors. So, consumables, subscription companies, wearables, those are all really good niches for us that we perform extremely well on. The average order is not going to be $3,000-$4,000. That's a shipment that you want to rely on a FedEx or a UPS on. USPS is making all of our final mile deliveries, which means the post office is handing off just at your front door. FedEx and UPS can be a bit more reliable, so I wouldn't recommend this for satellites or something, right? But for direct-to-consumer goods like wearables and consumables, that's perfect verticals for ShipIntel for sure.
Got it. So the brands that are more suited to have the margin to also be able to support, the free shipping option, which I know the cost for shipping has creeped up just the same way as the cost of advertising, and I think it's all kind of just slowly, working its way up. So that's good to know too. So is there anything else that you've been seeing, I guess, lately that most brands aren't aware of, aside from just their inefficiency with shipping in general with brands?
Um, yeah, I would just say that it's nice to see brands taking a look at things early on. I would say that's the thing that's missed most frequently is you'll have a brand that just doesn't pay close enough attention um, to that line item on the P&L until money that's been spent can't be recovered, right? You can always save for the future, but unfortunately, we can't go back and create savings on items that have already been recorded in QuickBooks. So I'm seeing, customers with that mindset when they're at 100 or 150 shipments per day start to look into some of these prerogatives that are available to them. And then the second I would say is most prevalent is customers that are too focused on savings, right? And then you end up with some of these carriers that are providing 10 and 14-day transit times, even though you're getting a first class shipment for $3.10 across the United States. Sometimes what's too good to be true is too good to be true. And leading with a financial mind forward without a good understanding of what the brand experience effect is, right? Altering from a priority like service, which is what ShipIntel provides, or priority mail directly, to a inferior or deferred service because of financial savings sometimes can have its own long-term financial setbacks when it comes to repeat customers, brand image, so on and so forth. So I think it's important that we note how us as consumers, when we order, we're not happy when we're excited when we order from the brands that we know and love, but we're not truly satisfied until it hits your doorstep. So only using that financial mindset of how much can we save 25% instead of 20% has created some pitfalls that I think can be avoided at a larger scale across multiple different industries.
Yeah, I think and obviously there's a lot of brands that are very I think what I would call superficial, where the consumer doesn't realize that sometimes they're even just drop shipping internationally from the manufacturer overseas too, which obviously creates a weird experience. I mean, me as a consumer, I know that I feel the same way when I get a package that has a different language kind of scribbled all over it, and the box is a little bit disheveled and stuff. So yeah, there's free shipping, but like you mentioned, at what cost? And I think brands have to have a much broader optic on customer experience. Marketing is becoming more challenging, right? The cost of advertising is going up. The cost of shipping is obviously going up too. So you can't really have those types of kinks in your customer journey from initial exposure to purchase all the way down to final delivery, because it will um, it will fall apart pretty quickly. And then brands are really relying on LTVs these days, so it's much more tricky in that sense. Um, so uh, I guess we'll kind of start to wrap it up. I mean, you provided tons of value in a really short time, Bradley, so I really appreciate it. Is there anything else that we missed?
No, John, I think as always, you've got great market insights from our conversations here as well as some of mine elsewhere. Marketing continues to go up, and it's changed so much in the last 5 years. What you guys have done with your organization is just absolutely profound, and we're appreciative to be a value-added partner of you guys, and we look forward to continuing to doing that in the future.
Awesome. Thanks for the kind words, Bradley. And where can they find you guys?
We're at shipintel.com, ShipNtel.com. Everything about us is on our contact us page. So if you have any questions, reach out direct. I'll make sure any of those emails, if you just note that this is where you found us, come to me directly, and I'll be happy to assist.
Awesome. Bradley, thanks so much for the time, man. I'll see you around.
All right, see you.